listening? I can't believe I let you talk me into this. Seriously, right? Yeah. Wow.
We're listening to Martial Secrets with Lawrence Kane
And
Chris Wilder, who sounds suspiciously like your announcer.
Lawrence, how are you today?
I'm awesome, man. How are you?
Well, you know, you're always living awesome. That's what you do, don't you? Hey, what are we going to be doing on Martial Secrets today?
Today, well, you know what? We got some follow-up to the bus tunnel incident.
The bus tunnel incident, the famous bus tunnel incident. Also, you know what we're going to do? We're going to be doing a little thing called Wrist Against the Wall.
Wrist against the wall.
Yes.
And what about burnout? Burnout sounds good.
We're going
for
to
today.
talk about Instructor Burnout, and this is the greatest tease of all time. We're going to talk about the McNally Nipple.
Ooh, the McNally Nipple.
The McNally Nipple. But on the bus tunnel, let me reset this just a little bit for the folks that might have either forgotten or not been aware of this, because it's been a while. But there was a bus tunnel incident in Seattle where there was a young gal that got in a fight, and the security cameras caught it, and they caught the rent-a-cops watching it, not doing anything, not intervening. And there was a big thing, and it was on the Today Show. I think it was Today Show or one of those morning shows. And
it certainly went viral on the internet. Yeah.
And when we were talking about it, I said I thought that the security company had been terminated, and you're like, I thought maybe it was the employees or whatever. But anyway, the firm did get fired, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. The firm got fired, and a new company was hired to take over security. The reason the firm was fired, by the way, is for "quote unquote" failing to properly train and equip its guards who are stationed there. Which is kind of funny because they were actually following the explicit orders of call in and don't do anything. Yeah. But yes, they were replaced by another company who is now also in the news.
And why are they in the news?
They're in the news because they're fined by the Labor and Industries for not doing the appropriate things to train their people.
Okay, so all in all, we get a teenage thug who gets in a fight and basically rips up people's lives via contract, responsibilities, and at the end of the day, nobody's won. And
that's it. Well, the state does get $14,000 from the fine, I suppose.
yeah. Okay, all right. So it's settled that the state wins on this one. Is that how this whole thing settles?
I think it does.
Okay.
I think it does.
Training tip time.
Training tip time. Wrist against the wall.
Yeah, this is just a really simple little thing, and I use it for adults and kids alike because it really, really works. When you're punching in karate, you want to use the first two knuckles of the hand, the index and what I like to call the flipper knuckle.
The flipper knuckle.
The flipper knuckle. And instead of the other two, which, you look at it and as a boxer's fracture. It's like I tell the young guys in the dojo, I say, you ever see anybody walking around with a cast on their hand and the last two fingers folded up in that cast? That's a
boxer's fracture, which comes from hitting people incorrectly.
Well, yeah, with a bare hand. I mean,
with a bare hand, right?
With a padded and taped hand, yeah, you're in business.
Well, true, but padded and taped hands generally aren't available if you get in a fight on the street.
Guaranteed. The thing that I'll do is I'll have people put their I'll have them make a fist, and I'll have them put their forearm up against the wall with their knuckles touching. And more often than not, you can actually take a pencil and you can slip it between the wall and their wrist because they don't have it flat across the top, if you can follow what I'm saying here. And then the next thing to do is to find a corner and to put your index knuckle up against the wall, and then your forearm, inside forearm. So what that does is that actually lines up the metacarpals bones in the top of the hand with the radius and ulna. And
those would be the bones in the forearm for those of you who don't speak, Latin.
Yeah, that's right. What it does is it allows you to line those bones up and to test it, and you'd be surprised at how many people, get that gap between the wall on both instances.
Yeah, and just to be clear, you're looking for that nice flat, the whole arm's up against the wall to make sure that the bones are aligned properly, because when your arm is in the air, it may feel like you're doing it right, but you can't tell for sure. So holding it up against the wall, you get that reinforcement of seeing it, feeling it, and then being able to apply it, say on a heavy bag or a makawara or whatever. And really, when your hands properly in line, not only are you safer when you're hitting something solid, but you also deliver a lot more energy, a lot more power from your punch.
Well, and you talk about the body deceiving you. If you look at people that are standing in, like the Morote Kamae, which is like the double chest block, you'll see that they curl their wrists as if they're doing a bicep curl, and that's not the way you punch, because you want to have it straight, right?
Absolutely.
And it's really a trick. So use the wall to for you instructors out there, really go ahead, get your students up against the wall and show them that gap, because their body will tell them, no, man, I'm straight, I'm good, this is good. But you know what? When you see it, it's empirical proof that says, nah, not so much. You need to go back there and fix it. And then once you've got that aligned, it's nice to be able to do it right next to something that you're going to hit. It could be a makawara or a heavy bag, and then go take it to that bag and test it.
Absolutely, and it really it looks a little odd, but once you get that feeling of where you're supposed to be aligned properly, it start to make it a habit, and you start to be able to use that if you need to punch somebody without thinking about it.
Well, you say it looks a little bit odd. I mean, it would look odd to somebody, putting your hand up against the wall and then going over there and doing that, and then going back to the wall, and then going back to the bag, going back to the wall. Well, it's odd if you're wearing a colored belt, but it's magic if you're wearing a black belt.
There you go. Well, next time someone says up against the wall, you think, training tip.
Instructor burnout, training
Instructor
tip.
burnout.
Training tip, instructor burnout. Instructor burnout's a really serious thing, and I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was until I experienced it. And it is.
Well, how long have you been teaching?
Well, since 82, 83, something like that.
Yeah, if you hadn't experienced it, that'd sort of be a surprise. I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're old or anything, but
But it is, and here's one of the things that instructors run into. Now there's different aspects of this, but I liken it much to that of a grocery store teller. Because if there's a bad coupon in the flyer,
I think it'd be grocery store clerk.
Oh, clerk,
because
yeah.
teller would be bank, but just saying.
Teller. Yeah, I confused the two. Sorry about that. The
Bad
grocery
coupon,
store.
yeah.
You're at the checkout line, and let's say that there's just as an example, there's an error in the coupon flyer that week.
Yep.
I mean, how many times are they going to hear about it?
Oh, hundreds probably. I mean, if it's a large busy store, thousands maybe.
Yeah, but when I'm bringing it to their attention, for me, this is the first time.
That's right. Yeah. For the customer, it's like, hey, I'm important. This matters to me. I'm pointing this out. I want the right thing. I want it at the right price. And for the cashier, it's like, man, I have heard this 1,000 times today. Just shut up.
Yeah. Well, and the same thing happens. I mean, and that is just a function of dealing with one person of contact with a multiple group. It's that to the multiples, it appears to be just one point of contact, but to the peer, it appears to be 600 times. I mean, how many times have you experienced this at the stadium?
Oh yeah, my favorite one is the roof is leaking. It's like, okay, and I'm supposed to do what about that during the game, right? I mean, it's Seattle.
I just wanted to bring it to your attention, so that you'd know.
Yeah, well, see, I actually have a trick for that, and the trick is we have an incident report form. And if people get really, really worked up about something, we have them write it down, which forces them to articulate their thoughts. It gives them an opportunity to write on something that's official looking, that actually does get followed through. And by the time they get done writing it down, they're not mad anymore. Plus, it gives me the opportunity, while they're writing, to
To
put
do
in
your job?
perspective. Well, that too, yeah. That too, but also to put it in perspective and go, you know what? This guy's paying a couple $100 for this ticket, and we're going to knock the stadium down next year and rebuild it. So there's honestly nothing we can do to fix the leaking roof right now. But at least it makes them feel better. And it really is about customer service. And as an instructor, to kind of bring it full circle, as an instructor, when you get a new white belt saying, I'm having trouble tying my belt, could you help me? It's like, well, you know what? They are the customer, and they do need to understand how to do that. And maybe the 50,000th time you've helped someone tie their belt, but you know what? That is part of your job, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. And if you see that as, I have now done this for the 50,000th time, what'll happen is that you'll begin to internalize it, and you'll get angry about it. But if you flip it over as the instructor and you say, of course, this is completely new to them. Why wouldn't they ask this question? Why wouldn't they do it this way? Then it changes the entire game, and it's a guard against that burnout.
It is. I've got an interesting attitude thing that I picked up actually teaching at a technical college. And that is, if the student doesn't get it, it's my fault. If they don't ask the question, it's their fault. And that's kind of a deal that you can make with the students.
Wait, now go back and say that again. Say that little
oh, sure.
If
the student doesn't get it, it's my fault.
Right.
But if they don't ask the question, it's their fault. So what it does is it makes it kind of a contract, right? Where they need to ask the question and I need to be receptive to it. And if my answer doesn't work, they don't understand it. Because, there's lots of different learning styles and whatnot. And I may explain it in a way that somebody doesn't get. I know at least another dozen ways to explain it, and I need to do that, right? That's my job. That's what I'm there for.
Well, I think that maxim is absolutely the best. If the student doesn't understand it, it's the instructor's fault, and if the student doesn't ask a question, it's the student's fault.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. It's free space time.
Free space time.
We want to talk about what I call the McNally nipple.
The infamous McNally nipple.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the black belts. You got to follow with me here. One of the black belts, and we'll just call him McNally. But if you spent your time and looked it up, you would certainly find it. He has now, if I got the story right. I mean, you'll follow along here. There's these two dogs in his neighborhood, and one of them's just a little tiny dog, and the other one was, I think it was some kind of breed of Rottweiler or Pit Bull or something like that. It was sort of a crossbreed thing.
Yeah, I think it was a crossbreed, but it had a fair amount of Rottweiler or something like that in it. It was a pretty big dog.
Yeah, and so this dog is barking at this little Yorkie Terrier or whatever it was, and these dogs have been going at it for weeks for some reason. I mean, they're like across the street from each other, yap yap yap, woof woof woof, yap woof yap woof. Because and this was going on.
That's what dogs do, right?
Yeah, that's what dogs do.
Hey, this is my yard. You go away. Yeah. This is my yard. Well, and that's my street.
Yeah,
and your yard is my yard.
Well, so finally, these two dogs, they get tangled up. And they're not quite tangled up yet, but McNally sees that this is about ready to happen, and because he's out mowing his lawn or something or the other, and he's just got on blue jeans, t-shirt. It's a nice day and all of that kind of stuff, and he sees the big dog making its way swiftly to this little terrier. So he steps in and he grabs the terrier by the scruff of the neck and jerks the terrier up into the air.
Should point out that he's a pretty tall guy. He's over 6 feet tall.
Oh, yeah. He's 6'1", 6'2", maybe.
Something like that,
yeah. So he's thinking, clearly I'm going to hold this dog up out of the way.
And then it can't get hurt.
And it can't get hurt.
Good Samaritan, right?
Exactly. But what happens is that this this dog, when you hold something up away from a dog jumps up on you, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because it's a dog. And so this dog, this crossbreed Rottweiler or whatever it was, which I'm not interested in being involved with at all.
No. It was a big dog and had the what's the Monty Python thing? Big gnashing pointy teeth.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
but it wasn't a rabbit.
No. Now, see, now you've cracked open the entire Monty Python reference things, and we need to just stop right here. We've agreed on this. We've been through the 12-step program of Monty Python. All right. So here's the thing. As he's holding this dog up with his left hand, he's trying to push the bigger dog away with his right hand, and the bigger dog jumps up on him and is going, ar, 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 and lashing away and everything. Well, some other people get involved and blah, 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 and his wife comes out, and it's all, and this big horrible thing, and they get all done, and it's like, John, you've been bit. And he was actually bit in the chest by this larger dog. So boom, off they go to the emergency room. And the doctor says, hey, man, they cut the T-shirt off him and they go, yeah, you're getting stitches. So they start stitching away. And they realize that as they're putting him back together, there's no nipple. They can't find it. They're kind of poking around and it's like, yeah, there's no nipple. And so the doc turns to his wife and goes, how far away do you live? She goes, oh, that's far. He goes, go back and take a look on the lawn, see if you can find it. And I know. And so she goes back and, basically all she finds is the crossbreed Rottweiler, licking its lips, going, yum. and so McNally's nipple is gone now. And they're certainly not going to wait around for a day or two and see if they can find it. And so, she calls back, and so they stitch him up. So he doesn't have a nipple on his left side, which, of course, is the reaction to this story is just totally different when it comes to the sexes, because it's like, the first thing I do is in the same way that a circus barker would go, hey, look at the magic man with only one nipple, and I pull his geese, I say, hey, look at this, and so you remember, you giggled, I giggled, Ito was laughing, everybody was laughing at this thing and stuff, but every woman that saw it went, oh,
yeah.
And of course, we're just thinking that it's the funniest thing on the planet. So that's the story of
if you're gonna break two dogs up from a fight, don't hold one of them up in the air. That just doesn't tend to work out well.
It doesn't work out well. And as proof would be right there. And that, my friend, is the end of our show today. We're ending with the McNally nipple. How do we get in touch with you if we want to complain about your podcast?
That is a good question. Well, the easiest way is probably to go onto Amazon and search my name, Lawrence Kane, find my author webpage, and there is a link to my email address, which you will probably forget if I say it out loud. And so go on to Amazon, find the author page.
And on that author page, we can also we can read your fevered ramblings, correct?
Yes, whenever I get around to rambling feveredly, yes.
Okay. And you can reach me, Chris Wilder, at thedojo at quidnunc.net. That's my direct email. That's QUIDNUNC.net. Or you can just go to the West Seattle Karate website and email me right through there. So now it's time to say...
Be safe, everyone.
And be well. Thanks for listening.
Nice work.
Hi, this is Chris Wilder from Martial Secrets. Martial Secrets is free, but it's not costless. So tell your friends about Martial Secrets. Your good words are the best endorsement we can have. Also, if you like what you hear, buy one of our books, buy one of our DVDs. We think they're pretty good, and we think you'll find value in them too. As always, we appreciate you listening and your support. You can find us pretty quickly by just going to Amazon.com, typing in Lawrence Kane or Chris Wilder, and you can find all of our books and DVDs there. Thanks for listening, and be well.